Hello and welcome to A Piece of String, the show that brings together comedians and scientific minds to ask and maybe answer the biggest of all questions ever. I'm Matthew Shribman. I'm a chemist and some might say a biophysicist, and with me today are Josie Peters, an astrophysicist.
Good day.
James Hay, an epidemiologist.
Hi.
And special guest, Laurie Blair, a writer, journalist, comedian, and my best friend.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Matthew.
Hi. Three of us, and three of us only, will ask a question to which one of us secretly knows the answer, and points will be allocated on a tyro arbitrary basis by our producer, Sam Lee. The winner will get this Disney bottle for life, which I'm really reluctant to give away, so I hope I win, because I believe that a bottle for life is for life. Not just for Christmas.
If you give it away, Matthew, it kind of loses its main selling point.
Someone else's life, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not for your life, it's for maybe my life.
Yeah, so whoever wins it must give it back. So, Laurie, got a question, mate?
I do indeed, and it's this. So you know how everyone's like, oh, if you laid all the digestives in the world, digestive biscuits end to end, they would reach the moon. You know, they always do that. And
always.
Every other phrase I hear is one of those with a variant on that. You know, so I have a question. Let's actually, put our money where our mouth is and make this happen. You say you're building a human chain from Earth to the moon. Okay, and I'm not talking just and touched it and that's it. I want that bad boy to hold for a day, a full 24 hours. How do you go about doing that? How would you make a human chain from Earth to the moon that lasted for a day?
When you say chain, do you mean like, when you're at school and you make those like human cutouts and they're holding hands? Does it have to resemble that?
I was thinking more actually human
Mouth to
bodies or legs to arms kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that changes my take on the question.
But I'm happy to have interpretations. We can do the paper chain.
I thought it was like a unite the world sort of chain, but unite the moon.
Yeah, reach out to those guys.
Speaking of the moon, I've started doing this thing with my room where I've started marking with pencil on the wall where the moonshine is coming through the window, and I've been doing it with the sun as well, so I can draw lines on the wall to show. So you don't even have a clock in the room, you just see where the sunshine is going, and then he crosses the point and it's 11 a.m. or something. I don't know how the moon's going to work, because that's going to be chaotic and weird, right? The moon seems to be shining in random directions all the time.
Yeah.
Depends how cloudy it is as well, isn't it? You can only do it some of the time.
You can only do it sometimes, yeah.
And living in London as well, you're going to be polluted.
No, mate,
Do you get pure moonlight?
Yeah, I've had a lot of good moonlight windows recently.
There's been a few of those kind of, rare ones, like the blood wolf, the glam rock, the Presbyterian moon, when they did different things, which I feel are happening more often these days than they used to.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They're just trying to popularise the moon.
Oh,
the
they're
moon's
just
trying
trying
to
to
act
get people excited about the moon with and then being someone who does astrophysics, everyone's like, oh, did you see that moon? No. It just means that it's it's a bit red.
There's better moons out there as well. Ours quite average. Or is it special?
It's quite a nice moon.
That's all right.
I mean, it's pretty special in it's 400 times smaller than the sun,
and yeah,
but it's 400 times closer.
Oh yeah.
So that's why you get proper
special.
eclipses. So that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Is that just a completely random chance thing?
Yeah, mate.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it cool? But the moon's gradually getting further away. So sometime in the future, they won't have complete total eclipses anymore.
Oh.
So we live in a privileged time.
Didn't they take a picture from the far side of the moon recently? Was that a thing, Josie?
Again, this is
Yeah.
the further and further I get into my PhD, the less and less I know about general space.
Yeah.
So you would like to know about my thesis?
How big is space, Josie? How many stars we got?
It's really big. There's I don't know. There's always that headline, isn't there, where they're like, oh, astronomers say there's even more stars and galaxies now, and you're like, well,
Every
still
time
just
that
a lot,
headline comes
isn't
up,
it?
that's you saying it, Josie.
See that cotton that the Chinese grew on the moon?
What? How did they get there?
He's chucked up some seeds.
Through it.
And a bit of water. I think the idea was it was supposed to be with some fruit fly eggs that were going to hatch and then help to cycle the carbon dioxide, but the fruit flies just didn't hatch, and so the moon cotton died really quickly.
Oh no, moon
Made in
cotton. That
Germany,
sounds
didn't it?
very pure, doesn't it?
That sounds like the
Moon
best
cotton.
stuff.
Actually, my new startup, which clothes made entirely out of moon cotton.
Yeah, I just have it with my Himalayan pink salt and.
I know so many people who would wear those.
It did germinate though, didn't it? Like
Yeah,
got
mate,
going.
germinated.
Okay,
Got
yeah. So
going.
it's like
Yeah.
proof of concept. Great. All right.
Get those flies to do some actual work for once. So it's chilling in their eggs.
Okay, but how are we going to go harvest it without a human chain?
Okay, we need the human. That's what,
Yeah,
that's what
so-
it's for, guys.
Somebody must have figured this out.
Imagine just being like the second person in that chain. You're just like right next to the earth. It'd be so boring.
First person in the chain. Well, I suppose is it better or I don't know.
First person, at least,
You
you
can
get
like
to chill
move
on
the base
ground.
around.
Yeah, you've got a bit of control.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
this is
You
what.
can move the
Yeah,
chain.
just move
You'd be
it.
like, what?
You have
What?
to keep running. wouldn't you?
you just keep like sort of
Just a big
gradually
balancing
like
act.
you're the balancing person. You've got to have the steadiest person
Mate,
at the
you have to
bottom.
be
of-
so hench, wouldn't you?
It's gonna be one of those like those Catalan like human towers, like the Torrejon kind of things, where they're all like massing at the base, and then there's a little kid. I bet you've got the smallest child is right at the top, just touching the moon.
Although that depends. In my head, I kind of imagined as if it was like a human chain kind of like dangling from the moon towards the earth.
Well, would that be the best way to? When you maybe start in between and then start dangling from both sides, because either you've got to overcome gravity at the start point if you start at either one. So maybe it's easier if you start in the middle
That's true.
and hang them down.
Obviously, we're skipping over the fact you'd need some sort of breathing apparatus for everyone and some sort
Hold
of
your
thing.
breath.
Hold your
Some
breath,
sort of
okay, cool.
food,
Yeah.
something to take your wee away.
Hmm.
With some sort of massive
like-
I wonder how
structure.
long it would
That's
take you
not
to
the
like actually
biggest
make
issue.
the chain as well, right?
Mm,
Because so if the chain lasts a day, but you got to make it in the first place.
You'd have to have like schools and hospitals and all that like, along the chain, wouldn't you? Be
Oh yeah.
This is a big ordeal.
And wouldn't you have to lengthen it throughout the day? Because the moon wouldn't be directly above the same place on Earth, would it?
point. Or just get really stretchy people, or really tall people, and then they can like scrunch up when it's close, and then they stretch out when it gets further away,
yeah.
like a slinky.
We could have the base on some sort of moving structure that move with the moon.
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh gosh, yeah, it has to last a day.
That's what's hard,
Sorry,
isn't
that
it?
just entered my brain. Right.
Are you also the
Change it.
person who's prepared the answer, Josie?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it then.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. It's less fine. I found out lots of like stats because it's just. I mean, you just can't, can you? Like you would.
You're not?
As you say, well, you would need, as you say, or you'd need like a doctor up the line somewhere. You'd need snack facilities, toilet
You
facilities.
need someone bringing around ice cream for half
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
So I tried to find I tried to find out bits of like information to be like, what would you need? But I mean, you can't. Like, it's just not going to happen. But so what's it? The average distance from the Earth to the Moon is 384,402 kilometers.
Wait, can we have that in? Wait, just the same but slower. Wait, what? Oh, got it. Yeah.
At closest point at perigee, 356,761 kilometers. So just think 350,000 kilometers. That's basically
Okay.
that's kind of the closest it gets. So
How
that's
tall
the
are you,
distance
Matthew?
we're talking. And if you took like sort of
Yeah.
a 5'7" human, that's like 170 centimeters roughly. So if you got everyone to be like 5'7", I don't know why I picked that one. I thought it was probably more of them than 6 foot people. You would need 209,637,443
Mate, we've got that many. There's way more than that. We're fine.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of people to
Yeah.
organise.
Fine, mate.
And then I started trying to look at
That's what social media's for, isn't
the
it?
strength of human grip, being like, so yeah, in my mind, I envisaged it as someone sort of dangling from the moon and holding the feet of someone else, and being like, okay, so how strong is human grip? And for not an average 25 to 29-year-old man, but a strong 25 to 29-year-old man, he can potentially grip 57.5 kilos. But the average human weight is 62 kilos. So one guy cannot like even handle,
One
hanging
other
on,
person,
one other
let
person.
alone another
let
few
alone
million.
208 million, like 209 million others.
For a day.
So you'd have to glue
Yeah,
everyone
glue
together,
them, though. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Straps.
but then you'd literally pull apart the humans, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't
It's
be
gonna be
a
horrible.
nice thing. And then I started thinking, oh, wait, what about the other way up? Tallest human pyramid ever constructed, 12 meters high.
Okay, so we're kind of part of the way.
On the way, yeah.
Getting
That's a
there.
start.
And then the last thing is when you Google human chain, it is, yeah, as you said, James, about people holding hands is the more common
That's where my mind goes.
way. And the longest ever human chain that's existed is one in Bangladesh, which is 1,050 kilometers long. It's pretty long. It's a lot.
1,050 kilometers long?
Yeah, people holding hands.
Oh, not like suspending the weight like a
no,
bridge.
no.
Just literally holding hands.
Just holding hands. But that's
know.
still about 656 miles, I think.
That's really impressive.
That is really fun.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, how would you do it? I mean, I really there are so many factors to this. I couldn't give you a a believable answer, but I let you know all the facts of that 209 million people.
1,050 kilometers? I'm still amazed by this.
Isn't it amazing?
Holding hands.
Yeah.
1,050 kilometers.
Yeah, people do a lot for a world record, don't they?
That's ridiculous. How many people is that?
That's like 1 million people? Felt like wingspan's like a meter or two. So like thousands, a million, thousand.
No,
Yeah.
you can't.
Mate, it could be. Don't knock it, Matthew.
1,000
Stop being a skeptical scientist and just accept what you're told.
Yeah, on 11th of December 2004, over 5 million people joined hands to form a human chain 1,050 kilometers long.
No.
From Teknaf to
way.
Tentulia,
That's
Bangladesh.
nuts.
That is unreal.
That's
Which,
some good
is
coordination.
652.4 miles.
Oh, people are great, aren't they?
Yeah, it's showing political... Oh, no.
Was it basically a wall to stop people from getting from one side to the other? Is that what you
Whoa,
just
hang
said?
on.
massive game. What's that game, like Bulldog or
Wait,
something?
I've got it wrong. There's been one since that's beaten it.
No.
The chains can involve thousands of people. The world record claimed now in 2017 by a protest in India. So India loves doing this. And Bangladesh, that part of the world. 20 million people, 11,292 kilometers.
That's
Pretty effective protest right there.
ridiculous.
I think they're practicing to get to the moon.
Yeah.
They're getting
Love
closer.
attempts. I just need to put that thing in the sky.
Yeah, that's my investment advice. Moon chains.
We just need to all just like ask them to jump and then
Yeah.
up in the air. Off you go.
Laurie.
Yeah, riddle me this. Can a
Riddle.
love that way of asking a question. No, very seriously. What is the tastiest element?
Surprise.
There it is.
No one enjoyed
End
that.
segment.
Have you ever had a surprise birthday party, Laurie?
Yes.
You have.
Not lucky.
Was it a real surprise? Were you surprised?
No, I tell a lie. I've had a surprise party, not a surprise birthday party.
Ah.
It was a surprise.
What was it?
Is it a surprise
was-
to everyone?
You don't sound that enthusiastic.
Of me. No, it was a leaving party. I was leaving the country for work for a
That
while.
doesn't sound that surprising. If you knew, you didn't know you were leaving. That was the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sorry, we've got your tickets. Bye.
Surely, if everyone was like, "Oh yeah, no, don't really want to hang out," like as in the run up to you leaving, you're starting to get a bit suspicious.
I am quite oblivious to most things. So yeah, it was a surprise, and that did taste very good. That moment.
Yeah.
What xenon? What's that like on the tongue? Anyone got any?
I've never seen it.
Xenon.
It's pretty tasteless, isn't it? But if you inhale it, then your voice goes really deep.
Tasty. That's cool.
I went to Italy to do a surprise for a girl that I like. Got my car stolen though. That was the back end of the surprise where I got surprised. Everyone was surprised. Although actually the car rental people were like, "Mate, if you take this car to the place that you're taking it, it will be stolen. We guarantee it." And they looked me dead in the eye and it was like, "Okay, you guys are literally in on this, aren't you? Like you're going to follow me and steal the car." And it was stolen within like 30 minutes. So
30 minutes?
yeah, I parked it up in Naples and it was just gone.
Why was it so stealable? Or why was the place that you went so steely?
I don't know, because I thought it was a nice area of Naples, to be honest. But it's just the vibe.
Did you hire it from the airport?
Yeah.
That is pretty. Even they were in on it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Airport in Rome as well, really far away.
Well, that's the thing about the mafia. They've got connections.
Yeah.
We've
Credit
just
to
got a
them.
big WhatsApp group. Oh, mate, there's this guy coming to Naples.
It's not like in the game where there's just 5 of them and they can only come out at night. They operate during the day. And they can actually communicate with each other. If you want to tackle a mafia, do not use the game Mafia as your guide. I learned the hard way. It's not effective as a counter-criminal strategy.
So tastiness, James.
I've always wondered, like, if I went to like Pluto and just put something in my mouth, would it taste like anything? Because I always thought it's interesting. Like, we've evolved like taste for like a function. I don't know, like putting stuff in a mouth, thinking, oh, is this going to be like nutritious or not? It's going to be poisonous or not? Kind of accidentally, we can also taste random stuff because there's obviously like loads of stuff that we see day to day that we probably like could taste, but obviously there's no point in eating it. So like, surely you would just be able to taste stuff in space.
Yeah, if you could suck in like a load of the center of the galaxy, it tastes like rum.
Yeah, or Milky
Very
Way.
rummy flavor.
Rummy. Why do you reckon rum?
It's right because it's got
some molecules or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very rummy.
That's interesting. Apparently, though, you can't. JC, you might know this. Like, you can't taste stuff when you go to space straight away because there's no gravity. Like, everything fills up with like fluid, and you get all bunged up. So it's just like having a cold. So like astronauts that go to space, they just can't taste food for ages. But eventually, like your body like sorts it out.
It's like on aeroplanes, isn't it? Like it's something to do with the pressure that aeroplane food just can't be tasty no matter how much salt you put on it.
Yeah. I also saw some dude, cheeky little sales strategy, started making wine with meteorites in it.
Ooh, I wouldn't want to drink that.
Yeah, so his whole thing was like he would make wine and then he would just like put it in a cask with like a meteorite for like 100 days or whatever. And apparently the taste was described as aggressive, which is not great.
Is that even good for you? Because meteorites are like
very metallic
rocks. Yeah,
aggressive metallic rocks.
That doesn't sound
£7
healthy.
a bottle though. So like we could get one.
Normal price, yeah.
Reasonable.
Get Prosecco for that in Tesco.
£7.
Yeah,
that's pretty good for meteorite wine.
Yeah, but you just
exactly.
find a meteorite on the floor, don't you?
And he's
You've not got to
cornered the
even buy the
market,
meteorite. You've just got to look around.
But it's the convenience, Josie. Do we have time to put that meteorite in our wine? Yeah, we're busy.
Let's search the desert for more meteorite.
Well,
great. Okay.
So we can't answer.
What
rich
other
vein
elements
of
are
conversation there? Yeah, I mean, sugar. What's that? I guess there's a bunch of carbon.
Loads of carbon
And
in
some
it.
sucrose. That
What's
element.
fat? That's the tastiest, isn't it? Salty
fat.
fat. Yum, yum, yum.
I love fat.
Just some olive oil on bread. Oh my gosh.
Animal fat though, not into that.
Not
Not hugely. Like if
Not
you know,
like a
like
delicious salami.
would you eat like a bit of fat off the edge of bacon?
Oh yeah.
You would.
If it's crispy,
I've never got that.
Even if it's crispy, I'm
I
not
don't get
down
that,
for that. Yeah.
Take the fat off.
maybe I'm from a more, I don't know, maybe
The
my
South.
genes were.
I know you're from the north as well.
You'd think it would be like from a more labour intensive past, wouldn't you? If you like just eating fat, because you need the calories, you know? Science.
Yeah.
And with that,
Just dazzled by
here's
that.
the answer.
Who knows what's the question?
Right. Yeah. What is the tastiest element? So, sodium of salt is pretty tasty. So people always talk about how if you add salt to food, then it makes it more delicious. And people also say that, there's a lot of salt in airplane food to try and make it a bit tastier because it's harder to taste plain food. And the reason for that is something to do with the way the food vaporizes, like less easily, and so you can't detect it with your
So you
nose.
can't smell it as well.
Yeah, I don't understand why that is because I thought
They
the
always
cabin
say
pressure
that,
was a bit
yeah.
lower. But anyway, but yeah, like the reason why salt makes stuff tastier is because one, it's just a fundamental flavor anyway, and two, it allows like the kind of taste chemicals like the esters and stuff in the food to vaporize more easily. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I guess it's possibly because the salt like dissolves more in the water. Dissolves in the water, and so the water won't evaporate so easily because you can't evaporate salty water very easily, and so it'll pass more of its energy to like the organic, tasty stuff, and that'll vaporize more easily. Is my guess. And so maybe that's also why it helps in plain food to have salty food. Also, salt kind of suppresses the bitter taste, and a little bit like miracle berries, those berries that you rub on your tongue, and they suppress the sour taste, so you can't taste acidic stuff. And they also add an extra dimensionality to sweet and sour. I read many times in many different places.
Dimensionality. That doesn't.
No
is that
idea what that
scientific?
meant.
That's
Yeah,
just
I
like.
don't
Dimensionality.
don't know what that means.
Just add, you just go into the sixth dimension and you see all the salt and the sugar.
So yeah, it didn't really. So then I stopped looking at salt, kind of. I was looking at the word salad and pondering it.
Wait, what?
Because it's a bit salty, the word salad.
It
It
is.
comes from the ancient Roman practice of salting leaf vegetables. Salad literally means salted.
Does that help preserve the veg?
Preserve it or make it more delicious.
Yeah, I put salt on my salad.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I always
I've
say that it
never
draws
heard
the water out of stuff. So like when you're frying onions, you should always put salt on them, and it brings out the water or the sugars or something, and
We
makes
should
it
definitely do
tastier.
a cooking program instead, because I'm learning loads of good tips from this.
Welcome to Cooking with String.
There's that Netflix show at the moment called like Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. That sort of seems in its title to distill the core elements of cooking.
Deliciousness. So yeah, then I was looking at butterflies and how they taste stuff with their feet. And then I was thinking about sharks and how they can...
What? Hang on, how did you go from salt to butterfly's feet?
Listen, JC, this doesn't necessarily follow a logical route. It's just what it is. Yeah, so sharks can smell one drop of blood in about like 25 gallons of water from 3 miles away, which is pretty impressive. And that's because lots of living things have evolved to be able to taste or smell blood with incredible accuracy. What's the word?
Yeah.
One of those words.
Sensitivity.
Sensitivity, yeah. For obvious reasons, so that we can hunt stuff and then eat it. And so and the thing that we're tasting there is iron, the iron in the blood. We have a very high sensitivity to the taste of iron. And actually, I thought iron was the only metal that we could taste, but. Yeah, the reason why we can smell metals, we can actually smell loads of different metals, it turns out, is because of the way that they react with the oils that are like naturally on our skin and our tongue. And that produces like detectable byproducts like ketones and esters and things. So actually we're smelling those and we associate those things with metals, but we're not actually smelling the metal. And also some metals, when you put them like on your tongue, it literally like sets up a little electric current as the metal kind of partially degrades because of the stuff on your tongue. And so you get like the tiniest electric shock. That's why like sometimes tasting iron like feels slightly electric, I think. Anyway, and then I was looking at other elements that could be a bit tasty, like francium and cesium, but they would be really tasty in that they would like literally explode your tongue and your head because they're so reactive with water. And then astatine would be really tasty in that it would destroy everything for miles around. Even like a tiny little drop of it, basically destroy
Putting it on your tongue.
this whole building. You wouldn't even need to put it on your tongue, to be honest.
Taste.
Astatine. The problem with astatine is it just doesn't want to exist. Of all the elements in the periodic
Mood.
table, it just like will
Deep
not
mood.
exist.
So is that
Big
one that they
mood right
found in
there.
a lab? Or how do they find it then if it's that explosive? Someone's found it once, right? And then they've been like, well, we're not doing that again.
They're going to seek it out, a butterfly net into the jungle on a quest. It's dangerous thing. But then, okay, so obviously sulfur, a lot of taste is to do with smell, right? So it's kind of thinking of that. And like sulfur is a very smelly element. But there's this other element that's kind of close to sulfur in the periodic table called livermorium, which was discovered like 19 years ago, good while ago. And yeah, it's just below sulfur. And it's thought that it is the smelliest of all elements because there's this kind of trend in smelliness as you go down that like column of the periodic table. But it basically only exists for like tens of milliseconds and then it disappears. So no one's ever been able to smell it.
Wait, what? How is it the smelliest element but nobody smelt it? I don't believe that. How have they,
Is an element
just
smelly if
theoretically
there's
smell
no
it?
one there
they've
to smell it?
extrapolated? They've got a model of smelliness to like row in the periodic table.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's just going to get smellier and smellier.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So there you go. Smelliest / tastiest element is livermorium,
Wow.
maybe, with a bit of salt.
And now for the mystery midsection. Just before we started the show, I gave everyone the following question.
Why do zebras have stripes?
I then asked everyone to write down a fictional but reasonable sounding answer. I will now read out all of those answers with the real answer mixed in. Everyone will then get the chance to decide which answer they think is right. Number 1. It's a genetic adaptation so they are camouflaged against white African birch forests. Number 2. The pattern confuses insects. Number 3. Their skin is stripy underneath and the pigment is carried through to their hairs. Number 4. Because they are slimming.
Brilliant.
Number 5. Zebra fetuses periodically flip in the vertical axis, leading to alternating light and dark sides with respect to the sun. Due to flips at different stages of development, the fetus develops alternate black and white stripes. Does anyone need any of those repeating?
We got, slimming, insects,
Birch,
African birch
stripy
forest.
skin, fetus flipping.
skin, fetus.
So the fetus flipping thing is kind of like a
True.
rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
And it gets exposed to the sun in the womb?
I love these zebra mums like sort of lying with their sort of bellies to the sun.
Yeah.
It's like basking, getting,
Getting the perfect
They've got translucent
stripes.
bellies, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you look at a zebra belly, it's like really thin skin.
Yeah.
No
You
way.
can see straight through.
Yeah, you can see, like, well, it's just like the outlines of all the organs, but like,
Hang on.
you can't like see detail.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound
That's a
right.
conspiracy being cooked up over that
Yeah,
side of the table.
just because we haven't seen zebras, Laurie, they think they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Have you seen those fish though that you can actually like see through to their brains and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they're just like called glassfish or something. You can
Yeah,
get them,
yeah.
you can get them in like like aquariums. You just buy them from your local fish shop.
And
But don't-
fistulated cows with like a porthole in the side,
But yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just grim though.
That's
That is
horrible,
grim,
isn't
yeah.
it?
but you can see into them
If you want, you don't have
if
to.
you want. Yeah, it's not compulsory
Optional.
part of the syllabus.
So fetus, plausible. Alternating skin. That doesn't really. That feels like it's deflecting the question a bit though. Why do they have stripes? Because they have stripes,
because
but that's not why you think
their
they
skin
have
is stripy,
stripes.
but it's
Yeah,
the head.
that's
Yeah.
kind of a cop out, that
Don't
one.
like that.
Also, are they? Well, I mean, hang on a minute. Let's hit pause on
Whoa.
this. When you see a zebra and you see that it's stripy, is that hair or is that not skin? I thought it was like. I thought they were only very lightly haired at best, and what you are looking at is indeed the skin. of the
Oh, yeah,
zebra.
maybe do they have translucent hairs? Who knows? We've got to get up close with the zebra.
So
Who wants
this
to go
could
to
be
the zoo?
true, couldn't it?
What colour is
But-
polar bear skin?
Oh,
it's
interesting.
isn't it black?
Black,
Yeah.
bright black.
That's interesting.
Stupid eyes.
What do we reckon
Stupid
is
eyes.
right then?
I don't know what I'm saying.
What do you think, Laurie?
I think. Well, I'm actually kind of inclined with that pregnancy rotisserie chicken situation going on, the old rotation, because it seems the word flip doesn't sound very scientific, so that to me suggests that it has been cooked up by
By this group of
mischief
non-scientists.
but you know what? I've nailed my colours to the mast. I'm gonna go with that one. I think, if that's all right.
All right.
I mean, it is slimming, so no one can take that away from the zebras.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will go for the insects one.
Oh, well, I already know who's going to win. I'm
Go
going to go. Well, since I can't win anyway, I'm going to go slimming.
Wow. Da, 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 da. James, you are correct.
Yeah, because I saw the article.
I get a point from yours. Woohoo!
Yeah, because Laurie went for James's answer, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was James's answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? That may be the way that they're formed, but
I still believe. I'm a truther. I'm a zebra skin truther.
what I saw very recently was that, and also I have heard about camouflaging before as being a genuine thing, but I don't think it's specifically for against a forest. But there is some new research that's saying that the pattern confuses flies. So up until an insect gets really close to a zebra, it's like buzzing along, like woo hoo hoo, yeah, everything's fine. And then as soon as it gets too close, it either ends up just flying back on itself or colliding with the zebra. So
Whoa.
it confuses the flies a lot. I mean, and they tried using horses as well to check it was just, is it the
Just the
animal
shape.
that's scary or something? And they even dressed some horses up as zebras. But yeah, I found that the flies get confused with the patterns. So
That's cool.
It's called
if you want to
disruptive
repel
camouflage, I
flies,
think.
oh my gosh, guys, why is there not more stripy clothing for tropical climates?
Nailed it.
Now there will be.
You guys familiar with the quagga, which is
No.
the offspring of a horse and a zebra, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in that case, would it be sort of mildly confusing for a fly?
Just like a slightly
Maybe
tipsy looking
encouraging.
fly.
Well, that's cool. I don't know.
I told my friend about that, and he got really annoyed. He was like, "People in like 50 years, when like all the species are dead because we've ruined it, like people are going to look back and think like the professors of zoology, like in this time, were just what were they doing? Why were they looking at like why do zebras have stripes when they should be doing like how do we not make all the zebras die? Sorry, it's a tangential point, but.
But on the stripy skin, someone told me that quite recently that zebras have stripy skin underneath, unlike most other kind of patterned animals. And I looked it up and I couldn't find any evidence that what they were saying was true.
Yeah.
But it sounds good, doesn't it?
Maybe we do just need to get our hands on a zebra and shave one.
Get hands right on, yeah.
We won't be allowed back to the zoo.
Shaving things. It's not really.
It's not harmful.
Shouldn't be on our lists of pastimes, should it really?
Sorry, I'm busy this weekend. Why? I'm shaving my parents' eyebrows.
Have you seen a picture of a shaved chimpanzee?
No.
They're so intense. They're so hench. It's
Ugh.
ridiculous. Yeah.
What, like all the muscles? Like,
yeah,
stand
they're
out?
so defined.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a good tip there, actually.
Yeah. Shaved chimpanzee. Have a look.
Fitness motivation.
Goals.
Here's a question. Can a disease be good for you?
Good as in like makes you stronger afterwards or something, or
Like sickle cell anemia, classic disease that also bestows a gift because you're immune to malaria, right?
If you're so it's a recessive gene. If
Yeah.
you have both copies of the recessive gene sickle cell anemia, you have the disease sickle cell anemia, which obviously makes you anemic and is quite bad. But if you are if you have one of the recessive copies and one healthy copy, then you don't have the disease, but your blood cells are like kind of a slightly different shape. So the malaria parasite can't infect those blood cells. So yeah, if you're a carrier of the gene, then you're immune.
That's brilliant.
That's pretty interesting.
so you don't have the disease, but you have some sort of
Some
cool
benefit from it,
benefits.
yeah.
I guess also it depends how you define you. I mean, can diseases be good for societies or nations? I mean, I think I'm not sure whether the Black Death, bubonic plague, was a disease or indeed a virus.
Disease, yeah. It was
Disease?
bacterial,
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
it?
Yeah,
bacterial.
bacterial disease.
Yeah.
So that obviously led to colossal death. 30%, 40% of England's population in the 1340s, whatever it was. But however, it did lead to labour shortage and hence higher wages. And indeed, I expect some historians would argue, greater demands for representation and sort of development of proto-democratic ideals in early medieval
Whoa,
England.
really?
Yeah.
That helped with socialism. That makes sense because it made the workers stronger because they were all being paid more.
Yeah, in the sense that, there was more demand for labour, so they were able to kind of demand. I think that's kind of one of the factors that led later on to the peasants' revolt. Although historians may well correct me on many of those things I've just said. But
It's really cool though.
yeah.
Wasn't there a thing like in it? I don't know what times. I want to say ancient times, but not ancient times. Where if you had
Olden days.
smallpox scars, so like if you have smallpox, chickenpox, you get like pock marks. If you had those scars, you were much more likely to find employment because it meant that like, well, you've had it, so you're not going to get it again. So you're not going to infect the rest of our workforce. It's actually like in a way like a really like beneficial thing to
Whoa.
show.
That's interesting.
Old Crater Face McGee
Oh,
gets
yeah.
employed wherever he goes.
Employee of the month.
Just put it on your CV.
Yeah.
Had smallpox.
So I read once that I don't remember if I'm remembering this perfectly well, but there is like a lot of our memory is to do with the shapes of proteins in our brains. We kind of think of memory as like this kind of electronic thing, but actually a lot of memory is stored with proteins that somehow retain a shape that somehow relates to some fragment of a memory. And at some point in the past, one of our ancestors was infected with a virus that resulted in something called the ARC protein kind of coming into being in our brains, which allowed copies of like protein shapes to be moved between nerve cells. And so they kind of infected us with the ability to remember things and like back up those memories. So I can't remember exactly what it is. Maybe James will know more about this than me. Do you know about this stuff?
So I think it's the idea that it's obviously the way that neurons communicate. You have like vesicles. So you have like budding of cell membrane that contains like signaling molecules and that like passes across. So, but if you think about it, that looks just like the way like a virus might like, replicate itself and then package itself up and then bud off a release from like a cell. So I think that's what you're talking. I think that's what you're talking about with like the ARC genes. They're saying that these genes are important for like generating these kind of like vesicle structures that look a bit like viruses.
That might be it.
And they so that allows like neurons to talk between one another.
Isn't that
Talk.
cool though that we're
It's
like
really cool.
infected with memory, like
Yeah.
a disease?
Yeah, well, it kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? 'Cause like DNA is a store of information, and we think about like our like kind of store of information as being like fast recall, but it's all just like got a biological like foundation. So if you think about viruses storing information, what's the best way to pass that information around? Then those sorts of really mechanistic structures make sense.
Good to get a disease when you want to sack off work, eh? Or school, right?
Yeah. Get the plague when you want to, have a hungover, Friday. Sorry, can't come in. Got
Plague, mate.
Got
What's the
Right.
worst day
Big
to try
bureaus.
and get off work, where it's the most obvious that you're not really ill?
It's been-
Well, Friday.
It's been Monday-
surely.
Monday or
Monday or
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
no
your
one
life
ever
just-
suspects a Tuesday.
I've never skived off work ever, so I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
No, neither
That's
have
good.
I.
Because Laurie's never been to work.
Tell me the
Hey,
unemployed.
lads.
Classic. It's true. Someone please,
Just
please,
Have another
lads
pint,
do it.
Laurie.
someone please hire me. Yeah, I mean, what's that aphorism coined by Kanye? That don't kill me can only make me stronger. So in that sense, all diseases that aren't fatal are,
Wait,
are
when you said
beneficial.
that, did you say that multiple
That-
times?
Yeah,
like
because
the song?
that's what he. Yeah, that's written in
It's
there.
rapid memory from you. That don't kill me.
Someone got an answer to this thing.
Yeah, I done got an answer.
Brilliant.
Had a look. So there's a few ways of looking at this. And I'm going to talk mostly about viruses because viruses are super interesting and there's too many other things you think about. So the first avenue that I thought about was, well, can a virus be directly useful? So the function of a virus be useful? And people are probably aware of this, but like there is like quite a recent line of research in using viruses as forms of therapy or treatment. So one really interesting recent one was, so you remember the Zika epidemic, how the reason Zika was such a big deal is because it caused microcephaly. So problems with like brain development in fetuses in South America. So the reason for this is that the Zika virus targets what we call neural progenitor cells. So the cells that lead to developing the nervous system.
Whoa,
scientists
lots
thought-
of long words. So basically, the virus targets the nerve cells.
Yeah.
And
So cells that
kids-
lead to brain development.
Yeah.
The cells in the brain. When the brain is developing in the
Yeah.
fetus, the virus targets those cells and stops them from dividing and like developing correctly.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
that leads to brain development problems. So anyway, scientists, wily people, they thought, right, well, can we co-opt this to treat brain cancer? So there's a type of brain cancer called glioblastoma, which is like a really notoriously hard to treat type of brain cancer because you treat the tumor, but then you have these things called glioma stem cells, which basically then start replicating again and reform the tumor. So as long as you have these stem cells, you're never going to be able to get rid of the tumor. However, the Zika virus targets these cells more than other cells. So they thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll vaccinate people or vaccinate like mice with Zika virus, and we'll see if it reduces the if it targets these stem cells more than it targets other cells. And they did this, and they found actually, yeah, the virus targets these glioma stem cells, but doesn't cause any other adverse effects in mice. So it's like a potential like kind of vaccination against brain cancer.
Whoa.
Hey.
And there's other viruses that we use this for. So
Wait, but I'm confused. If you vaccinate someone with Zika virus, surely then they can't get Zika virus, but you want people to have Zika virus to fight the cancer, right?
no, so different types of vaccines. So this one's a live attenuated vaccine, which means
Yeah.
you take the virus,
Yeah.
you kind of modify its genetic code so it doesn't like do the bad things about the virus,
Yeah, yeah.
but it can still replicate a little bit.
Oh.
So you inject that attenuated virus and you inject it directly into the brain.
But you only get one chance, and then next time the body's immune system.
Well, I
won't
think
let
it depends because if you, this is all about like how vaccines work, but if you inject it into the brain, I don't know how well the immune system sees that. Whereas if you inject like a virus, say, into your bloodstream, then
Yeah.
obviously that's where all your blood cells are circulating. So I don't know actually. That's an interesting.
How do you
Question
inject
on top
into your brain? Is that
Okay.
Stick a needle in, yeah.
what, up your nose? Or-
I guess you probably would, yeah. Oh, I think like the roof of your mouth is another good entry point.
Ooh,
'Cause
wow.
if you think about like
Straight
the
in.
top of your
Just
palate's
go-
really soft. Anyway, yeah, like that was one example. There's other examples of these what they call oncolytic viruses, so viruses to target cancer cells.
Crikey.
Another route I thought about was Matt's already talked about it with the ARC gene. So this kind of co-opting of the virus genome with our own genomes throughout evolutionary history.
It's like viruses infecting us with good stuff.
Yeah, so there's a type of virus called endogenous retroviruses. So what these basically do is they infect a cell, and then their life cycle is they replicate themselves using the kind of cell's DNA stuff, and then they kind of insert themselves into the genome of the host it's infecting. So as the genome gets replicated through say reproduction, the virus also gets replicated. So their whole life cycle is dependent on the host. But what this has done is it means that there's loads of like redundant like stretches of DNA in our genome, which are from these retroviruses that no longer work. So you hear this thing about like 1% of the genome is functional DNA.
Yeah.
Most of the junk stuff is just these retroviruses that are getting replicated over and over again. But what this gives you is like a blank canvas on which you can like generate new mutations, because you've got all this like DNA stuff that you can like co-opt that for like new uses.
Whoa, so most of our DNA is basically inactive, but that means that like little mutations could happen that just kind of spring little bits to life.
Yeah,
so
I mean, and that's only one part of it. Like there are other things like like DNA replication is not completely accurate. So if you get like an accidental duplication of say like a stretch of chromosome, that gives you like a lot of like extra material to make new genes with. But anyway, the example I wanted to use was have you guys heard of a thing called endosymbiotic theory?
Sorry,
not endosymbiotic theory.
No.
So this is the theory that mitochondria and chloroplasts were actually once free living organisms.
Oh yeah, wait. Yeah, sorry, I always teach this as if it's definitely true. Is this only a theory?
Well, it's one of these theories where there's a lot of good evidence, but we'll never know for certain because you can't make a time machine, right?
Like dinosaurs.
Like dinosaurs, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Jury's still out
Unicorns,
on that
dragons, all the same.
But basically, the idea of this theory is that in very ancient times, our like kind of single cell ancestors ingested some of these free living prokaryotes, so free living bacteria, and then started co-opting them to like generate energy that the cell then used. And there's really good evidence that this is true because if you look at mitochondria, so for one, they have completely independent gene lineages.
DNA,
they got their own DNA. And so this is why you might hear the phrase mitochondrial Eve, because the mitochondria are only passed down through your mother's line. So you can trace back mitochondrial DNA differently to, say, your human DNA. So it's like separate gene like lineage.
Barely changes, so you can like tell if you're related to someone.
Exactly.
Wait, what's a mitochondria again?
And the other
mitochondria is the thing that makes energy in your cells.
Thank you.
Takes your glucose to
it's like
your
my
oxygen.
little solar cells, but in my body.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. The powerhouse of the cell. That's what they always say. So yeah, diseases can be good for you. Definitely.
And we have arrived at the end. Points have been allocated by our producer, Sam Lee, according to a system that none of us were aware of until now. Sam?
Well, guys, the doctor is in this week, and I've been diagnosing you to see which diseases you weren't aware you had, which, while unfortunate, have resulted in the most potentially interesting and useful side effects. And in my cruelty, I've been arbitrarily awarding points to you based on that. Matthew, I have to report that you have been suffering from hyperthymesia, meaning you remember every event of your life thus far.
Wow.
God. That's unbelievable. I mean, that was not unbelievable. I believe it, because that's what I've got.
Well, your autobiography is going to be very, very authentic. Josie, what's it like living with inborn analgesia, meaning you don't feel pain? I imagine it has its upsides and downsides.
Yeah, I get smack into a lot of doors, but I don't get upset about it, so.
Love that.
Yep.
James, your Urbach-White
I still
disease means that you have a complete lack of fear. But again, I imagine that has, drawbacks.
So that's my face, Sam. Come on. Say it again.
It's just belligerent.
No, it's not worth it. It's
That's
not worth taking
my
a fight.
disease. I'm just angry.
And Laurie, keep it well hidden, but your polymelia, which has given you an extra leg, does that affect your running speed at all? Or?
If anything, I am slower.
And Matt's jealous.
I'm so jealous. I love legs. But, mate, this is so interesting. Why have you done such an interesting answer section, and who wins?
Well, in the final tally, it's not that interesting, really, because obviously pros and cons for both. So you've all kind of scored 0. Nice, neutral 0.
Oh, that's great.
We all win.
For now, thanks to Josie Peters,
Thank you all very much.
James Hay,
Thank you.
Laurie Blair,
Thanks to you.
Matthew Shribman, that's me, our producer Sam Lee, and to Unbound for their generosity in hosting and supporting us. You can follow us on social media by searching A Piece of String or String Podcast.
If you like the fun little illustrations that come with the episodes, and you can follow me at art on various social media channels.
You can follow me, Laurie Blair, at Twitter at LABlair1492.
And for stuff to do with infectious disease research, I'm on Twitter at JamesHay218.
And if you'd like to learn about many and various scientific curiosities from a man in a bath or otherwise located, you can follow me on social media by searching Science in the Bath or Matthew Shribman.
If you have a quirky question of your own that you'd like a scientific answer for, then please reach out to us on any of our social media channels.
Thanks for listening. Please rate and review us on Spotify, iTunes, etc. It makes a really big difference in spreading the word. And we'll be back again in a little while because this is the end of the season. So, more so than ever before, let's never speak of any of this ever again.